Yo.
Hey man, I got an idea for our desks.
What?
What if we built them at an angle so that we're kind of facing each other?
I hate it.
All right, well, I'll keep thinking. Later.
Okay, bye.
What a freaking jerk.
Huh?
Okay, so admittedly this is kind of a weird looking desk, but there is a reason for it. Well, a couple. First, we wanted something more collaborative. In our office space, the old desks were like this, where our backs are to one another. But since we're trying to work together more on designs and all sorts of other things, we thought having something where we faced each other might make that more natural. Additionally, the desks need to function as both actual work desks and also be a sort of set or stage. The idea is we'll build some walls to display some stuff behind us. We're still nailing down those specifics. And we'll build an angled desk to match. That way we have all the benefits of face-to-face interaction when we're working on designs and the ability to face a camera that might go here while filming and the viewer isn't left staring at our profiles. Okay, so that's the forethought that went into the desks. Now let's talk about the actual building. So in total, both of these desks are going to be made from 2 sheets of Baltic birch plywood. So the first step was to break down one of the sheets into 2 chunks that are 28¼ inches long and 1 chunk that's 31¾ of an inch long. And in this color-coded shot, you can see the 2 chunks are going to give us all of the vertical pieces that we'll need, and the other one's going to give us these horizontal panels that'll go in between our feet, and these horizontal strips that make up the front panels. And with that done, we could go ahead and rip out all of our individual pieces by going from widest to narrowest. Next, we can assemble the U-shaped structure and the front panels. And for now, these are going to be oversized, but in the end, we'll want our front panels to be made of 4-inch wide pieces all the way around. Next, we'll set our blade to 30 degrees to take care of all of the bevel cuts. And the first will be a cut on the outside edge of each of our back strips. And this will be just to aesthetically match the angle of our tops. Next is going to be one on either end of our diagonal front panels. And finally on both ends of our front panels. And the inside one will match up with the diagonal panel, and the outside one will again just to match the angle of our top. And this is the one where we're going to want to pay the most attention to how much material is being removed from each side, as so to end up with a panel that has even strips all the way around. Next, we're going to cut a rabbet into the backside of each of our front panels to accept a, well, I guess panel. Here it is. And Sean's going to be handling all of that, so here you go.
Thanks, Chris. So, given the design of the desk, we had these 2 large front panels that we felt needed a little something to add a bit of character. We went back and forth on what we wanted to do, but ultimately landed on these somewhat abstract designs. This project was also pretty interesting from a digital fabrication standpoint. We ended up utilizing 3 different computer design programs for various portions of this piece, but I first started with the front panels. To design the circular pattern, Chris used Adobe Illustrator, then exported an SVG file that I could then import into Easel, which is the program Inventables has developed to control the X-Carve. I decided to create the entire square panel design completely in Easel. Easel is a great program when it comes to simple geometric designs like this one, and it worked perfectly in this application. So with the designs done, I could start making the actual panels. and I had one of our best employees, Kreg the X-Carve, help me out with this. Okay, while the panels are being cut out, let's take a moment to thank Jamie Christensen at Third Rule Studios on Instagram for submitting this month's featured viewer project.
They built this really awesome looking modern minimalist dog kennel and even sent in a picture of their pooch. I just love Boston Terriers, even though this is a French bulldog, I think.
Anyway, we're going to be featuring a new project each month, and we're happy to be using Squarespace to help us build the website. We've both been using Squarespace to build and maintain our websites for years now, and honestly, it's one of the best choices we made when starting our businesses. At the time, I had no idea what I needed to do to build a website, but Squarespace makes it super easy to get up and running with plenty of professional looking templates to choose from, as well as making things like purchasing domains really simple.
Squarespace also has plenty of e-commerce tools to help you grow your business. Things like inventory management, a simple and secure checkout process, and unlimited products allow us to easily manage online transactions and not get bogged down with mundane tasks so that we can devote more time to things we do enjoy, like trying to figure out the difference between Boston Terriers and French Bulldogs. And as it turns out, it's about 3,500 miles.
So if you're thinking about starting a website, or even if you already have one, go check out Squarespace to see if it might be a better option for you.
Just head over to squarespace.com/4eyes for a free trial. And then when you're ready to launch, use the offer code 4eyes to save 10% off your first purchase of a domain or a website.
All right, thanks Squarespace. And if you want to have one of your projects featured as well, just check out the link in the description. Okay, the next thing we needed to figure out was how we were going to attach the front panels to the diagonal panels, which come together at 120 degrees. We wanted to try to do something practical and didn't want to come up with some sort of clamping block, so we got a little creative with our pocket hole settings. We drilled them just shy of the beveled edge. Then by clamping everything vertically in place, we were able to get everything attached. Next, to join the two sub-assemblies together, we cut a strip that would act as sort of a bridge between the front and back halves. And we decided to not use any glue to attach the two halves. That way we can move it through doorways whenever needed. With the base of the desk pretty much done, we now needed to make the desk tops, which was pretty straightforward. We used a combination of the track saw and the ACS to cut the majority of the angles and to get the top to near finished dimension. Then once the top was attached to the base, we could trim the last couple edges to get the tops to their final size. To create the cable management pass-through, I needed to design a couple things. First, we needed a hole large enough where we could pass cables and potentially plugs through the desk, and B, we needed some sort of cover plate. The templates for the hole were fairly simple. I once again designed this portion completely in easel, as it was just a couple of rectangles at different sizes with rounded corners. We needed one rectangle which would cut the entire way through the desktop, then one slightly larger rectangle that Chris could cut down to the thickness of the cover plate so that it would sit flush with the desktop. The cover plate was a bit more complicated, but only by arbitrary design. I wanted to create a cover plate that allowed the cables to pass through on either end, but also have easy finger holds to remove the plate when needed. For this, I used Fusion 360, as there would be some three-dimensional carving. I first created the shape of the plate, then used a sphere cut in half to make the finger holds. From there, I could program all of the tool paths directly in Fusion, and this is where I'm probably the least knowledgeable, but with some trial and error, I was able to use 4 tool paths to get a pretty good cut straight off the machine. And one of the best parts about creating tool paths in Fusion is that you can export the G-code, which can then be imported directly into easel and cut on the X-carve with 0 modifications needed. Next, we sanded everything up to 220 grit, sprayed on some black polyurethane, and then we could go about attaching the LED strips, being careful to weave them around in a way that they wouldn't be seen through the cutouts.
Man, I'm so happy that we decided to build the desks this way. I think it's just gonna make for like a lot of collaboration, a lot of interaction between us. I think our projects are gonna be better because of it. I'm just really happy that we decided to do this. Sean?
Yo, what's up, man? Chris, what's up, man?